The reason why Mr. Beast is where it's at because he is fucking obsessed. If you really want a job in marketing, you gotta be obsessed with this shit.
We want to lay out step by step. If we were restarting as marketers from fresh, what is the exact step-by-step playbook we would follow?
A lot of people are applying for marketing jobs. I made a video and I was able to stand out from the crowd.
2 ways that you can really, truly differentiate yourself as a marketer. Be a creator, not a consumer, and also be a curator.
If you're just starting, it's okay to just put shit content out because how else are you gonna learn?
Good is better than great.
Right.
And consistency is always going to win.
Perfectionism is a mental disease.
What is your process for scripting, recording, editing?
You gotta spend like 80% of your time on the hook. Beauty brands and streetwear clothing brands. That's doing world building to a perfection. The most important metric is your
If you're not taking advantage of that, you're going to get left behind. I want to kind of give the overarching goal of this episode. So the goal of this episode is we want to lay out step by step. If we were restarting as marketers from fresh in 2025 today, what is the exact step-by-step playbook that we would follow? So yeah, just rewinding a little bit, Saim. Probably 6 months ago, you first started working at the agency at midnight. Want to kind of talk about how content got your foot in the door, and if someone out there is trying to land a job in marketing, how would they follow your process for getting it?
Follow my process, damn. Well, I'll just speak from my experience. Everyone talks about oh, you gotta make content. Because Alex Hormozy actually, he was being able to leverage your media is when everything is getting automated, people connect with a personal brand more than anything. So that goes without saying. I was like, okay, well, I need to find a way to make videos or have some sort of media leverage, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So bought an editing course, started learning how to make videos and editing and whatever. And then you actually told me, hey, the videos that you're posting on Insta are doing somewhat well, but post them on LinkedIn. So I started posting on LinkedIn too. Ended up hitting 500,000 views or whatever it was.
From a single video, right?
From a single video. And then
what was that video about?
It was a marketing breakdown about how shout out to Midday Squares, but those guys, how they were able to, I'm actually forgetting what the video was about, but I think it was about the way they tell their story, and I broke down how they do it. So long story short, you told me to make a video on why Midnight should hire you, and I did just that. And considering people don't do a lot of people are applying for marketing jobs. How do you stand out? I made a video and I was able to stand out from the crowd. Obviously my experience and what I've done in the past and stuff like that played a huge role as well. But going back, if a marketer wants to get a marketing job, everyone knows how tough it is and how competitive it is. If I was back in that boat, I would make videos and send it to companies on why they should hire you. Mention the CEO name, mention the hiring manager's name. Those little details do matter. Show some B-roll of company culture and stuff like that. Those little details go a long way. Long story short, I would, instead of applying for hundreds of jobs, I would spend the same amount of time making a video for one company.
And I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is 2 ways that you can really, truly differentiate yourself as a marketer in this day and age. Everyone can automate and use AI and generate content, but the real differentiator is storytelling and taste. Nothing can replace the ability to tell an authentic story, and nothing is going to replace taste.
Well, when everything can be created through automation, how do you how do you differentiate things? By your taste. So I think there's going to be a huge and I was other marketers were also talking about this. Shout out to like Alex Garcia, Sweat Equity. I listened to those guys, and I think one of the things they said was like the ability for people and marketers specifically to curate.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so again, let's go back to why we started this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Where us marketers we don't have the experience that we do, so on and so forth. We want to get back in the game. Okay, the first thing I would do is I would start curating marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
And that would be one way for me to start building a quote unquote a personal brand.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have to say about that?
Well, today, like your content and personal brand is your resume.
Is your resume, exactly. Yeah.
You know, like a CV. Like I look at a CV, I can't really tell. You know, experience and education. Like what does that really tell me about what you can do?
100%.
But if you're gonna work in marketing, I want to see: can you create content? Can you tell a story? Do you have taste?
Exactly.
Like those are the three things that I would be looking for if I'm trying to hire like an A grade marketer to join our team.
You know, I'm from a brown background. Mom and dad, well, I'm Pakistani, so they were like, "Hey, you got to get your master's in marketing." And like, I think that is ridiculously. They're right.
I'm gonna teach you HubSpot.
Pardon?
They're gonna teach you how to use a CRM or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I think it's like how do I explain this? It is extremely stupid to get a master's in marketing unless you're going to be a professor.
Yeah.
Because I think marketing is all about storytelling, your taste. How can you tell a story about a company, a business, so people can resonate to it? That is it. I don't think there's too much. Like, this is me generalizing, simplifying everything, but that's why building a personal brand is so important, because it teaches you how to tell a story. Do I know how to tell a story? Not really. I mean, a little bit, I guess. I'm not the best storyteller out there, but that is why I started making content, so I can become better at this skill. And I think it's going to be the most important skill. Storytelling is going to be the most important skill in the next decade.
And it's funny, like, why would you try and go down the academic route when you can become a professor with content? Like, you can build your own distribution channel, you can build your own show. Like, anybody has the ability to buy a podcast mic and start their own channel or create content just for free.
Right. I mean, to play devil's advocate, you do need like your master's to be a professor, because that's just how universities work. But I think that's also going to change, because education as a whole is getting devalued.
Yeah, no, like free education is out there online for anybody on
100%.
YouTube, TikTok. You know, any piece of it, even like AI. AI can be your whole like graduate degree.
Exactly. I mean, we'll get into this, but like as a marketer, how to leverage AI. I mean, you told me about Greg Eisenberg.
Yeah.
I watch Marketing Against the Grain. Yeah. They talk a lot about AI and how you can leverage that as a marketer.
Yeah.
So I think it also comes down to like, you got to be obsessed with this shit.
Yeah.
You don't have any other option anymore, because shit is so competitive, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's one marketing job and there's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. No, if you don't love what you do as a marketer, you're not gonna make it. Like, it's a passion.
It is a passion. Yeah.
You have the ability to put all of the things that you're creatively interested into your work, and like you can really tell if someone is like actually putting their heart and soul into it.
How do you tell if someone is actually passionate about marketing, considering you're in a leadership role now?
Well, you can really tell when you see a piece of content, like, was there real like inspiration that went behind this, or did you just like put something out there just to tick a box?
And honestly speaking, again, playing devil's advocate, if you're just starting, it's okay to check that box off and just put shit content out. Yeah. Because how else are you going to learn?
Yeah. No, good is better than great.
Right.
And consistency is always going to win.
Yeah.
if you're too perfectionist and you're trying to wait too long, like the moment is gone.
Yeah,
Especially if you're
man.
trying to be responsive.
I come from a creative background. I had a clothing brand beforehand and
Yeah,
so on and so forth. Like creative people, they cannot monetize
yeah,
themselves because they're trying to make everything so perfect.
yeah,
But I think output matters a lot more now because it's so easy to like increase output using automation. Like AI can write your script, you know, ChatGPT can.
yeah,
It's going to be terrible. Don't
yeah,
ever use just ChatGPT to write a script.
yeah,
But like it's like you can have personal avatars now instead of just you recording a video. Like you can use HeyGen
Hey
and
Jen
use
or
Greek
Synthesia.
Synthesia or whatever the fuck that is. Yeah.
Odd Marketing, Amani, that
Who?
channel. Odd, I think it's called
Oh, Amani. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Odd
yeah, yeah.
Marketing, Amani. Like they built like an AI. I think it's an
Exactly.
AI agent. Like they built a system where
She's an
this.
actual human being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. But she created a digital twin,
Right.
and now that whole page is the go-to resource for like marketing news on the spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And anybody right now, like we could create a digital twin of Saim or myself, use an AI agent to, find news and
Right.
like marketing news, and then the whole process is automated.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, but you know, I thought about that, but like when you're starting,
Yeah.
you cannot be automating things. You cannot be finding shortcuts, I feel
No,
like.
no, no. This has to be like an amplifier to what you're already doing. You have to
Exactly.
already be creating content, and then that's a force multiplier. Like
Yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah.
for me, like it works. Like the videos aren't perfect, and like even like the
Yeah,
dubbing
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
is
yeah.
kind of off, but it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. I would love to test out using Synthesia or EasyGen to create a digital twin.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good to test, but I think you should, you got to I'm putting you on the spot. You told me to start making videos. I'm making videos. Now you got
What are we
to,
doing right now, bro?
you got
We're making a
to,
video right now.
well,
But yeah, you
this is a conversation.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. But you know how hard it is to
Let's talk about it.
research, script, record, edit. You know, there's a lot that goes into a single
Yeah,
video.
100%. Even captions, man. Sometimes captions take me so long.
But that can be automated to a very high level these days. But it doesn't necessarily give you the same like storytelling and taste. So
Right.
what is your process
Yeah.
for scripting, recording, editing, and then posting?
Okay. Let me lay out like how I actually find how does that person who is trying to get into marketing and wants to build a personal brand actually find ideas to
Yeah.
make videos on. Okay, so some of the newsletters I look at Adweek, Ad Age, because of marketing, Colin and Samir, famous
Yeah.
campaigns.
Yeah.
And like the more you look at like Adweek, Ad Age, you'll find other newsletters as well. For me, these are my bread and butters. And
Yeah.
the podcast Sweat Equity, shout out to Brian and Alex.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of marketing ideas from there, and I also
Yeah.
learn as a marketer too.
Yeah.
So me making content doesn't just help me build my personal brand, but also helps me as a marketer so I can help clients at midnight
Yeah.
too, you know? Yeah, so that's how you find ideas. You listen to that podcast I mentioned, you look at Adweek, Ad Age, all those newsletters, and over there you'll start finding like, okay, like Wendy's did this to for marketing. You know, that's where I found that idea. IKEA used Severance to for like their marketing campaign to be
Yeah.
culturally relevant. Like that's my niche. You know
Yeah.
how brands become relevant in the saturated space.
Yeah.
So that's how you find ideas.
Yeah.
Now the next step is, and I'm not gonna get a very because there's little things to do to know as well, like how an idea is good and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But like just find ideas for now and just script them. How do you script them? We could probably link like a ChatGPT prompt or whatever
Yeah.
that can help people script.
Yeah.
I created a prompt that helps me script, so we could probably send
I-
that. But still, bro, like you have to be able to and for me, scripting is I hate scripting
challenge?
because it takes so long.
Yeah.
You come from a writing background. I come from like an editing video background.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for me to be on video and whatnot, even though I'm nervous as fuck. Yeah. So how to script? Now that we have this idea, you script, you read the article on that specific campaign that you like.
Yeah.
And then you write takeaways. Okay, they did this, this is a stat. So now you have a bunch of bullet points. Now, because you're just getting started, and just put that in ChatGPT and be like, hey, write me a script. Yeah. And then it'll give you like the worst fucking script. It's going to be super robotic and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then you turn that into your own words. Yeah. And then you keep doing that. You do that for 50 fucking videos. Yeah. The 50 ideas. This is a long-term game. There's so many people who are making marketing content. Yeah. Like, that's why you got to be obsessed with this shit. So we have what? Ideas, writing, recording. Yeah. I do green screen content. I personally like it. It's easier to record. How do I do it? I sit in my background. I have a tripod that I bought for $20. We could probably link that too from Amazon.
Let's go.
And I bought a $15 mic as well. After recording like 30 videos, only now I just bought a good mic. Yeah. And that was because my friend who is in videography forced me. Shout out to Thomas. We love him. Go. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so you record. I record with my front camera because for me it's like a placebo effect. It helps me be more authentic. Yeah. You record line by line. So now that you have your script, you record line by line, and then you have the video. You literally have the video in one go.
I'd like to rewind back to,
100%.
to scripting. I think one good tip is like, look at what some of the best creators are doing. Look at a Callaway video. Look at how he comes in with a hook.
Right.
Because the most important part of your video is your hook.
100%. You got to spend like 80% of your time on that first 3 seconds, the hook.
Exactly. Like, what is the headline? Like, how are you going to stop the scroll? Like, what is your visual hook? Is there a text hook? Like, how can you open a curiosity loop that I want to stick around till the end?
Right. And it's a lot easier said than done, but like a blueprint that I am starting to follow because I'm still a little new at this game. Oh, actually very new. I only started making videos recently. But you have your bold claim. Yeah. Then you have a head fake. Yeah. And then you transition, and then you tell the story. The most important metric is your average watch time. Yeah. The more people, fuck the shares, fuck the saves, like whatever. Yeah. If more people are watching your video, that means you're gonna hit the algorithm. Because it's as simple as that. Instagram wants the audience to stay on their platform, right? Yeah. So you gotta delay. It's gonna sound so like not very like ethical, but you gotta delay that value.
Yeah, exactly. It's like opening that curiosity loop at the start.
Exactly.
And then like continuing to add contrast, like your but and therefores, if we're talking about the South Park storytelling rule. And then you have the payoff at the end of the video. Like, here is the piece of information. But I think going back to like something Mr. Beast does really well with a hook is there's contrast. It's like, I've put 30 people on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I'm going to leave them here for 30 days and see if they survive. Like, you have a time constraint and you have conflict. And then like from that one hook, I'm curious to stick around to see what's going to happen.
Right, right. And
that same format can be applied to like a marketing case study. Like
100%.
How this brand made 2 billion in 5 years. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes back to what you said, like, but I think all of that stuff is good. But like for people who want to get started, find the idea using Ad Age, Ad Week, script it, turn it into your own words, record it. Yeah. But now if we want to get into nitty gritty of how to actually do the storytelling. Yeah. Use, like you said, use but and therefore. Yeah. I think it's a very, it's a simple framework. Like, instead of never ever say and then this happened and then this happened. No. Like, For example, let me try to tell a story. I I woke up and then I went for a walk and then I started working and then I took an Uber and then I came here and I
Yeah.
recorded a podcast.
No
How
one
boring
cares.
is this? No one gives a fuck. So now let's try to add but in therefore.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, this is
What about this? You wanted to get a job in marketing,
right.
but no one was accepting
Right.
your CVs or applications. Therefore, I made a video and sent
Exactly.
it out to midnight.
Right.
But I wasn't sure if I was still going to land the role. Therefore,
I started making more videos or whatever.
yeah.
You know, or
And then I have the payoff at the end.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Or because I mean, let's go back because we could have just said, I wanted a job
yeah.
in marketing, and I was applying, and
Yeah.
then I saw so many people applying, and then I made a video, and
Yeah.
then I got the job, and this is what I did to get a job. I did this, and then you know, like
I've swiped past already.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
very simple framework, but all of this comes with practice. Like
Yeah.
you know, that's going back to this, bro. The reason why Mr. Beast is where it's at because he is fucking obsessed.
He's made thousands of videos now.
Exactly. I am not even 1% of 0.1% of obsession that he has with what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little more obsessed, but
Yeah.
but still. Yeah, so you got to be obsessed when it comes to editing. That's a whole other game.
Yeah.
Let's try to make it simple.
Yeah.
People who are so just basically you found the idea, right? There's probably screenshots and stuff like that you can put as B-roll.
Yeah.
Change it every like 5 seconds. It's
Yeah.
not going to be like a very high retention edited video,
Yeah.
but that's okay because you're just getting started.
Yeah.
Have a title hook. That's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
Title hook is basically your text hook.
Yeah. It's like
So
today, the way we consume content is like back in the day, people would read a newspaper
right.
and they would see a headline and want
Right.
to read the article. But today, the hook of your video is your headline.
It's the same
So if you don't
principle.
have a text hook, like how the hell do I know what I'm going to watch?
Bro, half of the people, I think this was a stat,
Yeah,
half of the people watch their stuff on mute,
that's a great point.
you know? So I am mesmerized when I don't see subtitles at least. The
Yeah.
very least add subtitles or captions,
Yeah,
on-screen caption.
unless your video can just be completely told like visually.
Right. Like there's always going to be exceptions.
Like,
Yeah.
for example, I think that this was from a recent Colin and Samir podcast. It was like
We love them.
Colin and Samir, Mr. Beast, and Zuckerberg. Do you see that one?
Yeah.
And he was talking about the video of Mr. Beast is like carrying $1,000, and
Right.
he's like running down the street, carrying $100,000 running down the street, and then carrying $1 million running down the street, and like that whole thing can be told visually
Yes.
and in any language. Because
Yeah.
for Mr. Beast, like he's not just after, he's already captured the whole of the North American market. Now he's trying to
100%.
capture audience across the globe.
Yeah. No,
And-
that's a fantastic point. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
And it's a good point that as well, like you have to think about how can my content be tailored to people like universally once you get to that certain level.
Exactly. Once you get on that certain level, because if I was listening to this conversation, I'd be like, okay, let me try to get like really good at storytelling. How can I be like, how can I think like of Mr. Beast and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Really, bro, like that guy, like you said, has made thousands of videos.
Yeah.
So if you really want a job in marketing and you really want to build a personal brand,
Yeah.
just honestly speaking, as shitty as it sounds, just do what we're telling you to do.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, shout out to Kane Calloway. Like he is the guy. If you want to learn storytelling, he is your guy.
Yeah.
The but therefore
Yeah.
framework that we just spoke about, I learned that from him.
Yeah.
How he tells like the stories. For example, he has like a hook, then he has a head fake, then he tells like the whole story. It's brilliant.
I think as well, like the rhythm of
Oh,
his
yeah,
storytelling too. Like I think he used to be a rapper or something.
Yeah.
So like the pacing and scripting, it's very musical.
Yeah,
If
100%.
I'm telling a story and it's flat and my voice doesn't change or there's no contrast, like it's really hard to stay and keep your attention. But the way that he like kind of dances with his delivery too
Yep.
it's exceptional.
Like another thing, if you want to get good at storytelling, is the idea of jagged zigzags
Yeah.
or jagged lines.
Yeah.
Like, for example, so that basically means is one sentence is going to be long, one sentence is going to be short, one's going to be medium length.
Yeah.
So this way you have rhythm. So when you do write your script and you start writing a lot of scripts and you get better, start to incorporate like jagged zigzags.
I think that all comes back from like writing principles. Like
100%.
exactly this exact statement you just said. It reminds me of that Gary, I think it's called Gary Provost, his writing frameworks. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's stuck like a record. The ear demands more variety. Now listen, I vary the sentence length and I create music. Music, the writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. I use short sentences and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes when I am certain the reader is rested, I will engage him with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo. The roll of the drums, the crash of cymbals, sounds that way listens to this is more important.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best guy when it comes to writing, and I'm not very aware about him, but that example itself, like should show the viewer. We could probably put this up.
Yeah,
as
I'm gonna
well.
put it over the screen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Essentially, the main long story short, when you're writing, you need a combination of like short, medium, long sentences. It's the same if you're like editing a video.
Mm-hmm.
You need B-roll, you need animations, you need like different emotions. So it all comes back to like writing principles, and then like when you're scripting a video or editing, having those same storytelling principles that you incorporate in as well.
But you don't need any of that when you're getting started.
That's true. That's true.
I come from a perfectionist background, bro. So I cannot hone in. I think I was actually going to make a clothing brand about this, like where the whole message was like fuck the idea of perfection.
Yeah.
I think it's the mental health disease almost.
Yeah.
Because you are trying to make something perfect when it doesn't even exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, there are people, your Elon Musk, your so on and so forth that get, but right now we're talking to an average marketer who's trying to get into marketing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
nothing is perfect.
Bro, nothing is perfect. I wish things were perfect, man.
Yeah.
It's and I have to constantly remind myself about this. I mean, who's the biggest overthinker? You know.
You.
Right? So I'm such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to give advice than
I think it's the reps and consistency.
That's what it comes down to, yeah.
Let's say, for example, like Picasso. Like have you seen like the amount of work that he created? Like every single day for like 70 years, almost straight, he made a piece of art.
Yeah.
Like for sure, every single day it wasn't going to be a perfect piece, but over time, like he's done so many fucking reps. And like if you're writing a piece of content every day, imagine how good you're going to get at flexing that muscle.
Exactly. And the obsession is also required. Goes back to obsession and Mr. Beast and everything. Because when you said Picasso, I was thinking about Tesla. I think he was one of the guys who made like power bulb or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I'm not a science guy, as you can tell. But bro, I don't even think he ever slept with a woman, because he was so obsessed, and he was like fucking every day he was doing like the same thing to try to make it better and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, I think that's what it requires, considering how fucking obscenely bad economy is, how companies don't have money to pay marketers. Like, it's just, if you can get anything out of this conversation, just really think about like, are you willing to watch every single Kane Calloway's video to learn
Yeah.
storytelling?
Yeah.
Are you willing to make 50 videos
Yeah.
and not think about like views and whatnot?
I think it all comes down to be a creator instead of a consumer. Like
Yeah,
today, in this day and age, like becoming a creator is a generational opportunity. And if you're not taking advantage of that, like you're going to get left behind. All the people that did, you know, ship something that was good rather than great, and they weren't stuck in that perfectionism, imposter syndrome cycle. They just shipped. And
yep,
be a creator, not a consumer, and also be a curator.
curator, yeah,
Don't just swipe endlessly and not do anything about it. Like curate.
right.
What are some ideas that you can take from another industry, like fashion, I don't know, an artist music campaign, and like applying that to like a B2B setting.
Exactly.
Like that's something we do in our day-to-day work.
Exactly. And I feel like I'm trying to find a way to make this into a series too, or just make my first video in general
Yeah.
about this. But like we have so many ideas, you know,
Yeah.
especially I feel like marketers are very creative people.
Yeah.
So if you're like, okay, like for example, this brand should collab with this brand, just make a video about that.
Yeah.
You know, that's you putting yourself out there. So it was just something that was in my mind. But yeah, a lot of people again are like, hey, I don't know how this brand became this huge, so on and so forth. That's fine. You don't have to be a creator, just be a curator.
Yeah.
Show us like what are the top 5 marketing campaigns of this week
Yeah.
or this month. You know,
Yeah.
that's your foot in the door.
And that's the thing as well. If you're not curating ideas, like the speed of marketing moves so fast that you're going to get left behind. And,
Yep.
you know, you're going to be,
Out the door.
yeah, like I think anybody can become a marketer very quickly just by being on top of what is happening right now, here and now. It really just comes down to taste.
You think anyone can be a marketer?
Anyone can be a marketer if they're able to adapt to what's happening like right now. Like somebody could start fresh out of school marketing and outpace someone who's been working in the industry for like 20 years.
Oh, 100%,
That's
yeah.
stuck in the old ways.
Oh,
you know?
100%, yeah.
There's a huge generational shift
Oh, yeah.
happening in marketing, and this whole like anti-corporate marketing is just going to get stronger and stronger till eventually that whole, you know, corporate PR bullshit is going to be washed away entirely.
Right. Right. No, I 100% agree with you. And I mean, that's something, that's how I got started. I started learning about what's happening in marketing. So I started making videos on how how a brand took advantage of a cultural moment.
Yeah.
So I was, I guess, a curator, and now
Yeah.
I'm starting to become a creator and trying to do like playbooks and so on and so forth.
I think this brings us to a great point that transitions into our next segment, but having a clear idea of what are your content pillars.
Oh yeah,
Like
so
you shouldn't
important.
just be creating content aimlessly without any theme. Like imagine a brand just posting sporadically without an overarching story and narrative. You need to think strategically about what do I want people to remember me for? Okay, I'm Saim. People are going to attach cultural marketing case studies to my content. Or for me personally, people are going to attach storytelling content and podcasting content to me. So you have to be consistent in the content you're putting out there. Does it fit within the brand that you want to put out there for how you want people to remember you?
So how would a brand say, okay, for example, we love this table, right, that we're sitting on.
Yeah.
How would a business, not a brand, business like this, the company that made this table,
Yeah.
start their marketing journey? Like how they need to create a story around like this table, how it's made, why. Let's talk about like how can they have their content pillar, or just come up with a different
Here's a
idea.
question. Like, do you want to be a product or do you want to be a brand? You know, anybody can create a product. Anyone can buy something from Alibaba and, create a Shopify store and sell it. But not everyone has the ability to be able to take a product and create a whole world and story behind it. Like, then we're going to go into world building. What's like the universe of this table? Like, I don't know, maybe it was carved in like Viking era. Like, this table goes back thousands of years, and there's a whole mythology behind the creation of this timber and the wood that's sat here.
Yeah, I think every single brand, every single business that wants to turn into a brand should have a mood board.
Yeah.
Of like what's in that mood board basically is gonna have like 10 photos, say, of what that product brand represents, what kind of world they want to build. So like, for example, if they want their tables to be in like luxury hotels, so like put a picture of a luxury hotel, and then now you're thinking, okay, how can I craft a story so people in luxury hotels that buy a lot of tables become aware of this, then you can get into different mediums. Yeah, I did want to go into AI because I mean it's very interesting. And I found like for me it was like somewhat of a shortcut where I was like, I can improve my skills in AI and build a personal brand. But I found cultural marketing more, it was more like I was able to connect to it more, And I think it just goes back to how saturated things are. I was like, if I can start breaking down how brands are, it will be very good inspiration for other brands, like how one brand took a cultural reference and then turned it into like their strategy or their campaign.
Let's build upon the content pillars decision. So can you give me an example of a brand that's able to curate and world build as like a reference point that another brand listening to this or a marketer who's working on a campaign can take inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, when it comes to trying to take inspiration from when marketers and founders, they're trying to think of creative ways to market and like the marketing campaign, so on and so forth, look at beauty brands and look at streetwear clothing brands. So a brand that's building, that's doing world building to a perfection. Road. So that's a beauty brand. It's by Hailey Bieber. And then a brand that's a streetwear brand, Represent. I mean, you're from UK, you know that. Do you own Represent?
I do not own a piece of Represent clothing, but I've made a few posts about it.
Yeah, exactly. When you went to UK, were a lot of people rocking?
People love. Well, the great thing about Represent is that they've captured not just like the streetwear brand, but also like 247.
Yeah, I love
like
247.
they're competing with Nike for market share.
Gymshark,
yeah. Like a huge part of that is world building. Like George Heaton's personal brand as well. Like he's going out there, creating content, showing up at run clubs, posting like behind the scenes content of like building Represent in public. And that's a whole nother playbook, like the founder led content angle that brands can tap into. But yeah, you need to show like there's the corporate PR version of marketing where you just show the polished, boring side of the brand, or you can show the unpolished, like raw, messy, day to day of like what it takes to build a business. And that's world building, that's narrative building, and that's something a lot of people can relate to and like buy into your story.
100%. I think like if any brand that's listening to this, if they wanna build a world and they wanna find their content pillars, I think it's as simple as, a lot easier said than done in generalizing things, but build a vision board. Buy a huge fucking paper, get a printer, and start printing out things that resonate with you, and you want people to resonate with your brand. So when we think about Represent, we think about Rolls Royce, we think about UK, we think about running, we think about, so just go to Google and just start putting those pictures on that whiteboard or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you'll start to see like how I can connect
the
these
yeah.
together. And that's how you build that world.
Yeah.
In a very, very simple, cohesive manner. Like, you know, for them. So one of the content pillars, I guess, or I don't know if this would be a content pillar, but running is huge. In George Heaton, who is represents founder, his life.
Yeah.
So basically he has run clubs now.
Yeah.
Right? And they can make content out of people running, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, I want you to add to this as well.
It's funny you say that. I think one of my best performing posts ever was about Represent 247 and Cadence. They showed up in their community. They partnered for credibility with athletes, like some of the most famous like CrossFit athletes, high rocks, ultra marathons, like William Googe, for example. They show all that behind the scenes on their YouTube channel. So they're building those like loyal fans. And then they're pushing out these like localized high quality product drops as well. And like, it's such a fucking incredible playbook.
Yeah.
But that's very much D2C driven. Like how can a B2B brand replicate that?
Well, first of all, that B2B brand needs to build that vision board. I'm huge on vision board.
Yeah.
Or mood board. Mood board. What kind of mood do you want your consumers to have? Like, okay, even if it's a corporate brand, okay, then put Goldman Sachs logo there, you know? Look at the kind of language they use. The kind of content they're posting. I think one of the shortcuts is also just looking at, for a B2B brand, like look at people that are winning in that space.
Yeah.
Doing.
Yeah.
Like do that and then tailor that towards your product, your messaging.
Yeah.
You know? How do you want your consumer to feel?
Yeah.
It really comes down to that.
Yeah.
You know, because marketing really is just how to craft a story.
Yeah.
And sell at a mass scale.
We were just talking about Callaway, and something that I noticed is if you look at what he posts on YouTube versus what he posts on LinkedIn or TikTok, Instagram, each piece of his content caters to a different audience. And I think it brings up a great point that your content can't just be redistributed on another platform. You need to cater it for each platform.
Unfortunately, it can't be because, well, like you said, each of those platforms have such different audiences, such different interests too. Like, you know, LinkedIn is more tailored towards like your professionals, and TikTok is more like the Gen Z crowd. So a very high retention edited video is not going to do so well on TikTok because people are on TikTok. Basically, it's like, oh, I'm FaceTiming a friend. You know, all the yapping content on TikTok performs so well because it's so authentic. Like you don't see any like maximized type captions, but maximized style works so well on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, so it goes back to, and LinkedIn just like recently started the whole video spiel as well. So we don't even know like what kind of style works on LinkedIn. At least I don't yet. But and I think when it comes to YouTube, like mainstream topics are what do well on YouTube.
For YouTube, I feel like it's that evergreen piece of content.
Yeah.
Like I want to learn how I can improve my UX skills. 7 ways I can improve my UX. You know, it's very tangible, and it's a video like if I watch a year from now, I'll still be able to learn from that in the same way.
Yeah, and it also goes back to like how each of those platforms have different pacing. TikTok is more like the reason why yapping content does well because people like more of the slow content, less edited. Instagram, it's like very heavily edited based on aesthetics and whatnot. Generalizing again, you know. LinkedIn, case studies, tangibles. YouTube, I think based on like my experience and opinion, if it has a huge TAM, it might do well.
Yeah.
If the audience you think is going to be big enough,
Yeah.
it can do well. Yeah.
Yeah. Paddy Galloway, I was watching a Colin and Samir podcast recently with Paddy Galloway.
Okay. What did you learn?
He says, like, if you're putting out a YouTube video, you have to think of 3 different audiences: core, casual, and new.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have your core audience who knows who you are, so they already have that context. You need to also think about, like, what a casual viewer, how they're going to interpret your message, and then how is a new audience member going to stumble on your video,
right,
and interpret what you're saying.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, something like that can also work for Instagram as well. Yeah.
Let's move on. I want to talk about how anyone listening to this, a marketer today, can leverage AI to multiply their efforts. So, like, what would your advice be on how to best leverage AI?
I think I'm big on ChatGPT, like using custom GPTs for everything.
Okay.
So
break it down. How do I build?
Yeah, exactly.
How do I build a custom GPT? Because I've been playing around with GPT-4 and I've been creating like project files.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same, but the only issue that I come across is like creating a custom GPT is like the conversation, you have to take it elsewhere, whereas in the project file it's all together.
The way I use it, I have a custom GPT that has a specific tone of voice and references for my scripts. I have a custom GPT for each of our clients. I have custom GPT that's tailored specifically on like how we send our weekly emails. Where I just type like the things I did and then it turns it into the weekly the template. So because the reason why you need to make custom GPTs is because one of the clients we have doesn't have the same tone of voice. And ideas and narrative and content pillars than the other one. So that's why it's really important. How do you make one? It's actually very, very simple. I think you need a premium though.
You do need premium.
It kind of goes without saying. I feel like you do need premium as a marketer in this day and age. And that's simply because you have a lot more, you can, I guess, talk for a lot longer and put more prompts and stuff like that. But you go to your profile thing, and then you click on Edit GPT. Or My GPT, and then it lets you create your own GPT, and you set custom instructions in there. You can set custom whatchamacallit, and for me, all of mine are in the same space as well, in the sidebar. Where you see the projects. So then you put instructions, you can put documents, and then you hit create, and there you go. You have your GPT that's trained on one specific thing, one specific client.
So I think a great way to kind of summarize this is use AI as like your executive assistant to get all the boring tasks done. And then you can really think strategically on what's the strategy of my client? How can I...
Exactly.
You're getting rid of like all of the repetitive admin tasks, and you can really focus on the big high level thinking.
Exactly.
Curation, taste, strategy,
storytelling.
So for me, like that is how a modern marketer can best leverage AI. But I think another huge discussion point is like how to prompt. Like the outputs you get from AI are only as good as your inputs. So there's a real science to prompt engineering, and something that I've done personally just to improve the way that I use AI is just looking out for some of the best AI creators. A couple of people I follow. One, Greg Eisenberg. We talked about him earlier. Startup Ideas podcast. Like incredible breakdowns of like how to prompt, how to use image generation in Sora.
He's from Montreal.
Yeah. There's tons of great ideas there if you listen to his show. Also, one of the best.
Marketing Against the Grain.
Yes, I haven't subscribed to their newsletter, but I think the best.
They have a podcast. Yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. My bad.
No, it's good. the best AI creator that I follow is called Ruben Hassid.
I don't, you know, it's very, his stuff is very basic. I guess
You
which
think?
makes, yeah, like everything that he says, I feel like I already know.
Really?
Yeah, kind of.
You're just shitting on my fucking case.
What?
You're just shitting on my example.
No. But Greg Eisenberg, you were the one who put me on.
I mean, not everyone is going to be at the same level, right?
Right.
Some people don't even know like how to prompt. So
Right.
like
Yeah, exactly.
you have to think of like a good starting point. But
Right. So for this beginner, honestly, if this beginner wants to get good at AI, no, leveraging AI as a marketer, just watch Greg Eisenberg's last 10 podcasts
yeah,
and you will be probably better than anyone.
90% of
90%.
marketers.
Yeah. Like
But yeah.
you just need to put time. Like you need to care about this shit.
Yeah.
You can't just like stop just applying for hundreds of jobs.
A great example of this, I have a swipe file on my phone of like prompts, and I've just like over the past few months been creating these on like Twitter, on X, on LinkedIn, anywhere I can find. And this is a pretty basic one that I know a lot of people might already know, but you need to kind of categorize exactly how your AI is going to solve your problem. So like setting up the situation, the limits, the action, the tone, and then example. So I'm going to put on the screen like the anatomy of a slate prompt. But yeah, I think that's basic knowledge where to start, and then you can really go deep in like creating custom GPTs, image generation, video generation.
Huge.
So like the ability like to solve problems and like execute at scale now as a marketer is force multiplied by like 100.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the worst that AI has ever been today.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better and better.
Right.
So you really need to stay ahead of the curve on staying on top of trends and like evolving with the tools and softwares.
Exactly. I mean, you couldn't said it better. We can even the prompt that I created to make ChatGPT like not just a little better. Like if you have ChatGPT Premium, you can just copy that prompt and you can put it in the custom instruction section. It basically gets rid of like, because marketers know, people know if something is written by ChatGPT. So that prompt basically helps ChatGPT not write like that, and it just makes it more like efficient, concise.
Yeah, this is something you showed me as well. AI is very much like it will tell you what you want to hear. It can be a compulsive liar, but if you tell it to think critically and take both sides, don't just like agree with what I'm saying and try and tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
I want you to think logically and break down both sides of the coin.
Right. Like the prompt is so long and it kind of goes like, no corny emojis, no bold text unless it's a headline, no M dashes. We know the dash, keep the tone clear and neutral.
I don't mind an M dash. I would use an M dash anyway before AI.
Yeah, but now it's just a given. I feel like if there's an M dash,
I think it's more so the words that are used. Like if it's like, you can tell there's certain words that ChatGPT like recycles, and it's something a human, like if you read it out loud, you'd just get the
well, ChatGPT is so fucking terrible at writing. It will say the whole copywriter's job is to say more things with less words. ChatGPT does the exact opposite.
Yeah, unless you train it.
And you can use my prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap things up. I want to kind of summarize everything. If we were to break down, just in short, everything that we just discussed in the past 45 minutes or whatever. So like, if you were to summarize like everything we discussed in this conversation, and you want to walk away from this podcast right now and start executing to become a better marketer, what exactly would you do?
What would I do is I would probably listen to this podcast again and make some notes, because I think there's some, like we laid out, how to actually make marketing content.
Yeah.
Where do you find your ideas? How do you start scripting? You know, if we also talked about how you can become better at storytelling.
Yeah.
So honestly, yeah, I would just fucking listen to this podcast again.
Yeah.
Also, when applying for jobs, I would make videos.
Yeah.
Still fill the Indeed stuff, LinkedIn stuff.
Yeah.
But send a video. It's not that hard to find hiring managers' email. To summarize, I would start making content by finding ideas. And when it comes to editing, you don't have to be a good editor. Instagram actually launched their own editing app, so you can literally record a green screen style video with your front camera in it. Add a little bit of B-roll, because where you get ideas, they will have some B-roll as well. So just put that behind. Yeah. Do that for the first 10 to 25, 50 videos, whatever. If you're working as a marketer, definitely build a mood board. Yeah. That would help you with the content pillars as well. And leverage AI, make custom GPTs. Listen to Greg Eisenberg. Don't listen to me. Listen to Greg Eisenberg when it comes to fucking ChatGPT and all that stuff. Marketing Against the Grain podcast. Your favorite guy, Ruben. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's tons of like actionable advice for someone listening to this to start executing. But I think just to summarize, like, just start creating content. And be a creator, not a consumer.
First, be a curator, and then you can be a creator if you don't have that kind of confidence. Yeah. As well. But yeah.
And good is better than perfect. Consistency is going to work.
I genuinely think perfectionism is a mental disease. Yeah. So, and that's coming from someone who has mental health issues. That's coming
from the biggest overthinker.
Overthinker, and I have mental health issues. So, you know.
All right, man. Well, this was fun. Yeah. Let's run it back sometime.
100%.
All right.
Cool. The fucking table is too long for me to shake your hand.
You're saying it's like a Chris Williamson.
Right. Table. Exactly. Love Chris Williamson. Yeah. Shout out to who? Actually, I don't know.
Modern Wisdom.
Yeah. Modern Wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.